Hi everyone, thank you for watching my capstone presentation. I hope you enjoy it. So for months now I've been trying to figure out some potential ideas for this final project. I'm not the most creative person, so that's made things a little bit challenging, but after multiple times to the drawing board and brainstorming different ideas, I finally decided to go with an idea that felt personal and impactful to me. So a reoccurring theme for me throughout my MSW journey has been vulnerability. And vulnerability takes a lot of different forms, whether that's me being vulnerable with myself, my families, my colleagues, or even the individuals that I serve. So I used to think that being vulnerable was a negative thing and a sign of weakness, but throughout my MSW journey, I have really seen how vulnerability has actually become one of my biggest strengths. Um, this vulnerability has allowed me to create deep relationships and connections with individuals that I work with, as well as individuals that I serve. And it's been able to create a space for change, which has been really impactful. So, in the spirit of vulnerability, I decided to share about one of my biggest traumas and how it has brought me and shaped me to where I am today. So, on November 19th in 2015, my life was forever changed when I got the phone call saying that my mom had died by suicide. My heart sank and my life shattered before my eyes. I didn't know where I was going to go, how I was going to go on. And it was 3 months after my wedding, which was an extreme high, and then I went to an ultimate low. My mom had been recently diagnosed with bipolar and had spent many weeks in the hospital with physicians and staff trying to try a variety of different medications. So ultimately, my mom is the reason I'm here today, and I've decided to create a memory box as a tribute to her. So although she may not be here in person, she has been my guide and inspiration throughout this whole process, and I wouldn't be where I am today without her. What I miss most is not being able to call her spontaneously or text her and just chat about anything random or ask her advice about something. So I decided that a really neat way to add to my memory box would be to create and write a letter to her, just sharing with her all the growth that I've had over the last year and a bit and all the change and transformation that has taken place. So this is the memory box that I have. And on the front it says make every day count. So my mom was someone who made her everyday count and she was super inspiring, so that's why I chose to have that on the front. On the inside I wrote I am because you were. I know it's backwards, but this is something that after my mom passed away was a saying to me that really just encouraged me to continue to keep living my life to my fullest and knowing that I am where I am today because of her and she once was. So that's exciting. So throughout the memory box there are some pictures, just full of things. Pictures, some special artifacts that just an angel that someone gave me after she passed away, and little items of hers that just help me treasure her and remind me of her. So I decided I would share with you guys the letter that I wrote to her. I hope you enjoy it. So, dear Mama, there's so much I want to tell you, but first I want to thank you. Thank you for teaching me to impact other people's lives in a positive way. You did this day in and day out without fail. Even through your illness, you were kind, hospitable, and generous to others, and I believe that it was your nurturing attitude that inspired me to pursue post-secondary education and ultimately my career in social work. You inspire me. You're the reason that I'll be walking across the stage to receive my MSW in June. I still can't believe it. It all seems like such a blur. After you passed away, I didn't know how life was going to go on. I struggled to get out of bed each day knowing that I was never going to see your face again. This was a hard reality to accept. As I began to work through my grief and attempt to grasp some understanding of why this happened, I began to grow more passionate. Passionate to help others who are struggling with mental illness. I didn't know in what capacity that would play out, however I knew it had to be done. After working in a group home with individuals with disabilities and dual diagnoses, I decided to pursue further education. This led me to obtain my BSW at the University of Waterloo. As I sat in my first class, I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed, anxious, and feeling like I made a terrible mistake. I knew there would be triggers, and I didn't know if I was ready to engage in course material that would explore issues surrounding some of my deepest hurts. I knew I would be challenged and forced to work through the realities of this area in my life. That is where the healing and growing began. I often felt you there with me, encouraging me to persevere, and I did it. I successfully completed my BSW. but I knew I could do more. You had the most admirable quality, drive to reach your goals, and I am thankful that is something you passed down to me. Fast forward to August 2017, when I wanted to focus my work more on when I began my MSW journey. I was working full-time at CAS, but I knew I wanted to focus my work on helping individuals suffering from mental illness and being an advocate for them. Many people were shocked and said, "You're doing more school?" In those times of discouragement, I thought of you smiling and telling me to follow my dreams, and that you believed in me. You instilled this confidence and strength in me, and for that I am forever grateful. 2 months into beginning the MSW program, Chris and I discovered we were expecting our first child. It was not exactly how we pictured this chapter of our lives to unfold. However, after some accommodations that were made, we made it work. Despite the busyness of life and the obstacles that came my way, I was not only to complete all the requirements of my MSW, but I was able to do it while developing my social work skills beyond what I ever imagined. So in order to keep track of my growth and development throughout this program, I kept a record of words and phrases that reminded me of you, but were also a reflection of my learning and development. So I decided to write each of these words on small puzzle pieces and put them in my memory box. They are a reminder that all of these words connect together to make me who I am as a social worker, but they were also words that are a piece of you that I've taken with me, which I love. So I'd like to share these words with you and explain what they mean to me and how you have been part of my learning and development as a social worker. So I have a bunch of puzzle pieces here. So I wrote the different words on, and the phrases. So the first one is, "It's okay to be selfish." You were the definition of selfless, and I admire you for that. As much as it was a great quality, it was also detrimental to you and not getting the support that you needed at all times. This journey has taught me the importance of self-care and making that a priority in my life. Research indicates that over and over, engaging in regular self-care leads to decreased stress and burnout in the social work field. If I am not able to care for myself, how am I able to effectively help others? As I engage in my practice, I will ensure that self-care remains the top of my priority. I understand that prioritizing self-care will ultimately lead to make me a better social worker. My life outside of work will also be better off, and I believe satisfaction levels, both personal and professional, are greater when self-care strategy is adopted and used regularly. So the second word that I wrote was communicate. So you were a great communicator, Mom. You always taught me to communicate my feelings and address issues right away. The importance of clear communication is something that was often addressed during my MSW, in my coursework, as well as in my practicum. Working on an interprofessional team in my practicum was a really good learning opportunity for me to learn how to be an effective communicator. When you work on an interdisciplinary team, constant communication is necessary to ensure that clients are receiving the best care. Research suggests that failure in communication on teams leads to errors and injuries of patients. So despite the implementation of communication tools, study results indicated that difficulty with communication on interdisciplinary teams still remained. The findings of the study further reminded me of the importance of having emphasis on clear communication. Working on an interprofessional team means that not everything is going to be perfect and go according to schedule, and there are often times where things need to be switched around in order to accommodate other professionals into your client's care, as well as accommodate your client's needs. It is our job to do the best we can to ensure that constant dialogue between team members is occurring. Next one is patience. You were so patient, Mom. Patient with me and my wild brothers as we were growing up and discovering who we were. Patient with the flaws in the medical system and all of the unknowns with your illness. Patience is a virtue, and I am thankful I am learning to become more patient. Throughout my practicum, I have been learning to work on an interdisciplinary team. This has come with many challenges, especially when each of us is coming from a different perspective. Systems theory has been really helpful for me in understanding some of the complexities and the issues I have experienced and witnessed in my practicum. I have noticed that sometimes clinicians compartmentalize and address issues that only pertain to their discipline. This becomes problematic because from a systems theory perspective, we know an individual's behavior is influenced by a variety of different factors. If we neglect acknowledging the various factors that are contributing to that individual's challenges, then those challenges are not likely to be resolved. As a social worker, systems theory has informed my practice, and I will continue to advocate for other disciplines to work from a holistic approach. The next word is advocate. When it came to marginalized and oppressed individuals, you were an incredible advocate and support. I wish we could have advocated more for you to receive the help you needed. Advocacy for social justice and human rights is arguably a foundational component to our work as social worker. Working with vulnerable populations is a great reminder of a social worker's role to advance social justice. I believe social workers are advancing social justice through their day-to-day roles and responsibilities. I've been working in the outpatient schizophrenia clinic at St. Joe's, and I am constantly advocating and working alongside my supervisor to help individuals and ensure they are receiving the support and care that they need. Whether it's advocating for a voluntary hospital admission or a medication change, each small piece is part of the bigger picture in advancing social justice. I think it's important to recognize and remember that social justice is not something that happens overnight. It takes time and perseverance to see changes transpiring. Although the day-to-day tasks may become daunting and repetitive, it is important not to lose sight of the bigger picture. As a social worker, I see my role in advancing human rights as part of my daily work. As I continue to educate and advocate for individuals I am working with, I hope this will lead to greater autonomy and the ability for them to navigate and utilize supports that are offered to them in their community. And the last one that I'm going to talk about is be you. Ever since I can remember, you walked alongside me as I was discovering who I was. As I further developed my professional identity this past year, I was often reminded to be myself while adhering to social work ethics and values. Early in my practicum, I recognized strong interpersonal skills and ability to build rapport quickly with my clients. However, this realization challenged me to further explore the importance of having clear professional boundaries and becoming more assertive in my practice. Observing the way other social workers in the hospital setting practice has demonstrated the importance of building and maintaining relationships while being assertive and upholding the standards and ethics of our college. Throughout my practicum and coursework, I am excited to say that I have become much more assertive with both my coworkers as well as the individuals that I serve. Not only am I able to recognize when something is being asked of me that is out of my scope of practice, but I am confident to explain to them why I will not be taking on that specific task. I no longer feel like I am letting a person down, but instead feeling empowered, and I have been able to implement these changes while remaining true to myself in my values. Excuse me. Mama, I'm so excited to share with you that my placement has led to a full-time position as a social worker on an inpatient unit at St. Joseph's Hospital. I feel honored to have the opportunity to serve others who are going through similar experiences that you went through. I am looking forward to applying my academic, personal, and practical experiences to my practice. Although losing you was devastating, I want you to know that so much goodness has come from your life. The tragedy of losing you has ignited a passion in me that I could never have imagined. So thank you. Thank you for allowing your legacy to live on through me. I won't let you down.